Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem Indonesia Raya.
Indonesia tanah airku, tanah tumpah darahku. Di sanalah aku berdiri, jadi pandu ibuku. Indonesia kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Marilah kita berseru, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah tanahku, hiduplah negeriku, bangsaku, rakyatku semuanya. Bangunlah jiwanya, bangunlah badannya untuk Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya.
You may all be seated. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Praise to the God Almighty because of His blessings. In this very precious moment, we can all meet at Expo 2020 Dubai Bisnis Forum, presented by the Department of Payment System Policy, Bank Indonesia, the Central Bank of the Republic of Indonesia. I'm Widya Rani Hapsari, and it is my honor to be the master of ceremony for today's event. First and foremost, we would like to greet our excellencies, the Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the United Arab Emirates, Mr. Husin Bagis, Deputy Governor of Bank Indonesia, Mr. Doni Primanto Yuwono, Honorable Speakers, Assistant Deputy Minister for Regional Economy and Real Sector Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Puji Gunawan, Director of Payment System Policy Department Bank Indonesia, Ibu Fitria Irmi Triswati, Treasurer of Indonesian Payment System Association, Mr. Vincent Iswaratioso, representatives from Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates, embassies and banking industries, representatives from institutions in United Arab Emirates and Indonesia, and all our esteemed audience. Thank you for joining us on this great day. Today's forum will cover the topic of digitalizing the payment system in supporting the creation of an inclusive economy in Indonesia. Together, we will navigate and deeper into policies and initiatives to accelerate Indonesia's digitalization in synergies with ministries and associations for the development of innovation in the payment system. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, to begin this event, please welcome the Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the United Arab Emirates, His Excellency, Mr. Husin Bagis.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dr. Iskandar Simorangkir, Deputy Minister for Macroeconomy and Financial Coordination, Coordinating Ministry of Economy, Mrs. Filianingsih Hendarta, Assistant Governor of Bank Indonesia, distinguished speaker, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank and pray to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that we are all joining here in a good health and very blessed to attend this webinar, Digitalizing the Payment System in Supporting the Creation of an Inclusive Economy in Indonesia, hosted by Indonesia Central Bank, Bank Indonesia. In this special occasion, we will discuss the development of payment system, especially with the implementation of digital technology in order to support more inclusive economy. As we are all aware, all inclusive economy has to ensure that economy benefits for all people and all people have access to financial services and to facilitate everyone with very opportunity they want. The payment system as the core infrastructure of banking and transaction has to be modified with advanced digital development and application in order to support everyone's business. Therefore, it is hoping that all efforts of digitalizing payment system will align with the goal of inclusive economy. Today's webinar hosted by Bank Indonesia will discuss detailed aspects of digitalizing payment system and how those efforts could benefit for all people. We'll enjoy and listen the session from diverse panelists, which are policymakers, central bank, and businesses association, to understand more and to gain some insights for our future. To conclude, I wish a fruitful discussion and concrete action for the benefit of all people. Thank you and stay safe and healthy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Husin Bagis, for the warm opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, next, it is my honor to introduce our keynote speaker on this theme, that is acceleration of payment system digitization to promote synergy and innovation for economic recovery towards advanced Indonesia. Please welcome Deputy Governor of Bank Indonesia, Mr. Doni Primanto Yuwono.
Distinguished speaker and participant of Webinar Expo 2020 Dubai, His Excellency Mr. Husin Bagis, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the United Arab Emirates, Mr. Ferry Irawan, Assistant Deputy Minister of Monetary and External Sector, Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs, Mrs. Filianingsih Hendarta, Head of Payment System Policy Department of Bank Indonesia, Mr. Vincent Henry Iswaratioso, Treasurer of ASPI. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let us extend to our praise and gratitude to Allah, God Almighty, since only with His blessing we all could participate here as part of Bisnis Forum in Expo 2020 Dubai. I also would like to appreciate the distinguished speaker contributing their valuable time and experience in this important event and all of the participants who have joined us today. Back in 2020, Indonesian economy, as well as almost every country, was impacted enormously due to COVID-19 pandemic. Indonesian experienced the economy during the year slowed down to minus 5.3% in the second quarter of 2020, with overall growth was minus 2.1% in 2020. Meanwhile, in still early 2022, we are saddened with the bounce backs of COVID-19 cases. Connecting Mind, Creating the Future, the theme of the Expo 2020 Dubai, is aligned with the spirit of the continuous synergy and innovation of development and policy designed by Bank Indonesia and the government, as well as with the support of the industry, should set a light for us. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the challenges caused by COVID-19 may not let us down. Digitalization seems to be the key in adapting and providing opportunities for us to break down the barrier that withhold us. In this great occasion, digitalization even connect us despite the situation of COVID-19 pandemic and the distance from Dubai to Indonesia. People behavior have also changed. The digital payment channel through banking grew by 56.7% year on year, so that the digital transformation in banking continues. Pandemic also encouraged people to toward e-commerce, which keep growing stronger by 71.3% year on year. Digitalization has become the option to avoid physical contact. The rapid growth of digital transaction lead to the need for a fast, efficient, and secure infrastructure. Meanwhile, within the context of doing business, the flexibility and adaptability of the business continues to be challenged in this uncertain time. The ability to survive, adapt, and transform is the key to success to get through the pandemic successfully. Digital acceleration are expected to be the game changer and to thrive amid the limitation of the social mobility. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the digital era is necessity and has colored the landscape of the payment system. Shorter technology cycles have become a challenge for a regulator to keep abreast of the development amid the variation, innovation, and the complexity of the payment system. In response to this condition, regulator need to be proactive in encouraging the development of innovation and technology that are considered capable of increasing productivity, efficiency, and inclusiveness. On the other hand, regulator also need to be aware of innovation and technological development challenge and risks. For this reason, a balanced approach between encouraging innovation and mitigating risk need to be done carefully and optimally. The balanced approach is articulated by Bank Indonesia as the regulator of the Indonesian payment system in the form of the Indonesian Payment System IPS Blueprint 2025. IPS Blueprint 2025 consists 5 visions, namely integration of the digital economy and finance and assuring the proper functioning of the central bank mandates, supporting digitalization of banking industry so that the bank remain the main financial institution in digital era, facilitate the interlink between fintech and bank through API standardization to avoid shadow banking risks, ensuring the balance between innovation and financial stability, including mitigating cyber risks, as well as guaranteeing national interests in the cross-border digital economic and finance. The implementation stage of the five vision of the IPS Blueprint 2025 is cascaded into the several initiatives that are focused on developing open banking, strengthening the configuration of the retail payment system, strengthening the financial market infrastructure, developing public infrastructure for the data, as well as strengthening the regulatory, licensing, and supervisory. These initiatives are conducted through collaborative approach involving not only Bank Indonesia, but also other related authorities and all the payment system providers. In payment policymaking, we take into the account establishing a healthy, competitive, and innovative payment system industry, promoting integrated, interconnected, and interoperable payment infrastructure, and improving market practices that are healthy, efficient, and fair. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proudly to inform you that in 2021, we established important milestone of the IPS Blueprint 2025. We did a regulatory reform by making improvement in payment system regulation, developing BIFAS as a retail payment system infrastructure, and lastly, by making payment system standard, National Standard Open API Payment, or we call the SNAP, and Quick Response Code Indonesian Standard, we call the KRIS. Since its launch on August 17, 2019, KRIS has spread to 34 provinces and 480 cities or districts throughout Indonesia. As of the December 31, the end of December 2021, the number of the KRIS merchant has reached 14 million merchants, of which 86% are micro and small business actors. From this, it can be seen that the KRIS ecosystem is expanding, which is also supported by 68 KRIS licensed PJSBS, but both bank and non-bank, with this ease of interconnection. Now it is currently estimated that more than 80 million Indonesians, both in urban and rural areas, can make payment using KRIS. Ladies and gentlemen, BI also concerned in supporting cross-border finance or transaction. Since 2018, BI has established the Local Currency Settlement or LCS initiative. LCS scheme aims to diversify settlement of bilateral transactions between Indonesia and partner countries by using local currency. Under LCS scheme, the use of the local currency is widely encouraged in line with the increasing trade and investment volume between ASEAN countries, including Indonesia. In addition, the latest innovation from the KRIS is the QR cross-border payment linked with Bank of Thailand and Bank Negara Malaysia. Through this collaboration, tourists from Indonesia are now able to use their mobile payment app to scan Thai QR code to make payment to merchants all over Thailand, Malaysia, and vice versa. The settlement of a transaction using the LCS method through existing ACCD bank with some adjustment necessary. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, digitalization will only increase economic output if it properly designed. In this context, collaboration and synergy between regulator and industry stand as a solution for Indonesian and looking at the future toward a perceptible and lucrative digital transformation for sustainable economic development. Last but not least, synergy will become the key among major developed countries and emerging economies around the world. But it will also require innovation in achieving the desired and state of economic recovery for all of us in the future. To conclude, let me note that the possibility to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic can best be achieved by all of us working synergistically through innovative approach and embracing the new era, digital era. May God Almighty bless and lighten our step toward a better future. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Doni Yuwono. Before we continue today's agenda, we would like to invite Mr. Doni Yuwono, along with our distinguished guests and speaker, to participate in the virtual photo session. Mr. Husin Bagis, Mr. Dedi Sahat, Mr. Puji Gunawan, Ms. Fitria Irmi Triswati, and Mr. Vincent Iswaratioso, please kindly join the session. Okay, are you ready, ma'am and sir? We'll count the photo in 3, 2, 1. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will proceed to panel discussion sessions shortly. And without further ado, please welcome our moderator, Director of Business Development Dana Indonesia, Mr. Dedi Sahat. Okay, we have Mr. Dedi Sahat with me here today. Hello, Mr. Dedi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Rani?
I am also good. We're glad to have you here to moderate the panel discussion session.
Thank you.
And over to you.
Thank you, Rani. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, distinguished guests. The pandemic somehow has provided us with the opportunity to speed up digitalization in our lives. Rapid changes happened in the last 2 years. Adaptability and innovation become two main keywords intensively discussed in the course of response to the new normal. Digital transformation has been the key into the disruption of the way we work and doing business. Now, most businesses has prepared to meet this type of sudden change. As the backbone of economy, payment system is no doubt has been very agile in responding to such circumstances. In this auspicious occasion of Bisnis Forum, digitalizing the payment system in supporting the creation of an inclusive economy in Indonesia and in the margins of Expo 2020 Dubai, I am Dedi Sahat, Director of Business Development in Dana, Indonesia's leading digital wallet platform, greatly humbled to moderate this session facilitated by the Central Bank of Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, before we invite the panelists, we would like to present you with some videos. These videos will introduce you to some of Bank Indonesia's initiative programs on digitalization of the payment system. I hope it will give us more context for our next topic. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly turn your attention to the screen and please enjoy these videos.
The SPE 2025's vision is fully oriented to build a healthy ecosystem as a guide for the development of the digital economy and finance in Indonesia. The SPE 2025's vision is then translated into the Indonesian Payment System Blueprint 2025, or BSPI 2025, which includes 5 initiatives: open banking, retail payment system, financial market infrastructures, data, regulation reformation. Open banking initiatives aim to encourage digital transformation in banking and build interlinks between banks and vintage. Open banking is a transformational effort in the financial sector that allows openness between banks and other third parties or non-banks in order to provide services that in accordance with consumer needs. Bank Indonesia encourages QR code standardization to strengthen interoperability through the Quick Response Code Indonesia Standard or KRIS. On the middle-end side, Bank Indonesia, together with the industry, will develop an integrated payment interface or IPT to ensure interoperability and encourage innovation on the service provider side while reducing the barrier to entry. Bank Indonesia will also develop BI Fast as a fast payment infrastructure that serves all types of payment transactions. BI Fast will complement the back-end system of the national retail payment, which is expected to be able to encourage industry competitiveness, opening wider payment options for the public, increasing transaction efficiency, and strengthening the reliability of the retail payment system in Indonesia. The initiative to strengthen financial market infrastructures is intended as an effort to support efficiency and to perform Indonesia's financial market deepening so it can accelerate economic growth. Bank Indonesia will carry out modernization to the financial market infrastructures that organized by Bank Indonesia, namely BI RTGS, BI S4, and BI ETP, as well as strengthen the regulatory framework and related developments, Central Counterparty or CCP, and Trade Repository or TR. Data Hub will integrate the acquisition and payment transaction data traffic. Granular data acquisition results will be processed into Data Hub and presented back to the authorities and industries, while still paying attention to the access authority and protect personal data. Meanwhile, Payment ID will be a digital identity in the payment system that can be further processed into a high-value added information content and can be used to open up opportunities for economic and financial inclusion. Simplified and integrated licensing regime will be implemented without decreasing the prudential aspects based on the type of activity carried out or activity phase, and arranged according to the size, scale, and scope. The supervision methodology will be strengthened by combining the risk-based supervision method with the compliant-based supervision and by utilizing granular data, availability of granular data through data collection and data analytics, opening opportunities for strengthening the implementation of licensing and supervision through the use of RegTech and SupTech solutions. Bank Indonesia's efforts to encourage innovation are realized by revitalizing the sandbox function to Sandbox 2.0. Bank Indonesia believes that digitalization will be able to transform Indonesia into a developed high-income nation. Digital transformation in the financial sector that jointly carried out by regulators and industry will be able to answer challenges in the digital era.
Digitalization has brought about changes in all walks of life, including the way we transact and make payments. All providers innovate to offer integrated, interconnected, and interoperable services. In this case, the role of regulators is very important to ensure that payment systems run safely and efficiently for all users. Bank Indonesia also supports the integration of the economy and financial digitalization, particularly in the payment system, by implementing the Indonesian Standard Quick Response Code, or KRIS, since January 2020. KRIS is a QR code standard for payment in Indonesia that connects all payment system providers. KRIS can link to various banking and non-banking funds such as deposits, electronic money, debit cards, and credit cards. KRIS can be used through various payment and mobile banking applications, enabling people to make contactless and digital payments from various payment system providers. Merchants will instantly receive transaction notification and receive the funds in their account. With all the benefits, KRIS is used by more than 15 million merchants. From micro businesses to large enterprises, Bank Indonesia, Payment System Association, and Payment System Industries continuously develop KRIS features. KRIS Consumer Presented Mode, the KRIS Transfer, Withdrawal and Transfer, and KRIS Without Presence. KRIS Cross-Border enables two interconnected countries to make payments using payment applications from their respective providers. This is possible through cooperation between central banks, associations, and payment system industries. Switching between the two countries enables the connectivity, and transaction settlements will utilize the Local Currency Settlement, or LCS, framework. QR cross-border will make it easier for both countries, especially those with high trade and tourism activity. KRIS Digital Payment also supports financial inclusion. KRIS supports small or traditional merchants to adopt digital technology and enter into the financial system. With profile and recorded transactions, merchants will find it easier to apply financing. In the future, we will continue to push the users of KRIS massively, developing KRIS features, including expanding QR cross-border cooperation with other countries in the region.
Digitalisasi, inovasi, disrupsi, baik global dan nasional, merupakan bagian dari perubahan. Namun, apakah perubahan harus menjadi alasan bagi kita untuk berhenti? Tidak. Menyambut mitra Indonesia dalam menghadapi perubahan, BI Fast. Sebagai sistem fast payment terbaru dari Bank Indonesia, BI Fast siap melayani kebutuhan masyarakat terhadap pelayanan transaksi digital yang lengkap, real time, terjangkau, 24/7, aman, dengan menggunakan nomor handphone atau email sebagai alternatif nomor rekening, cepat, kapanpun, dimanapun, seketika, terjamin. Didukung oleh teknologi handal, keamanan ketat, dan harga yang terjangkau. Dimulai dari individual credit transfer pada Desember 2021, dilanjutkan bulk credit, direct debit, dan request for payment pada tahapan berikutnya. BI Fast akan meningkatkan inovasi dan inklusivitas terhadap perkembangan ekonomi di seluruh pelosok Indonesia dengan memastikan terjadinya sinergi dengan industri sistem pembayaran. Perubahan akan selalu terjadi. Disrupsi tidak dapat terhentikan. Namun sebagai rakyat Indonesia, kita akan terus bangkit dan menghadapi semua tantangan dengan berani. Bersama menuju satu Indonesia yang maju dan sejahtera. BI Fast, sepanjang waktu, seketika. Currently, digital technology has revolutionized all aspects of life and presents many opportunities, including in realizing the efficiency and effectiveness of public services, supporting transparency and governance, as well as optimizing local government revenue and fiscal health for accelerating and expanding the digitization of government transactions. as a form of synergy and collaboration from the government and authorities. On February 13, 2020, a Memorandum of Understanding on the coordination of the acceleration and expansion of regional government transaction electronification by 5 ministries and institutions was signed. Regional digitization commitment is further strengthened by the issuance of Presidential Decree Number 3 of 2021 concerning the acceleration and expansion of Regional Digitalization Task Force, P2DD Task Force, as a forum for collaboration and synergy at the national level, and P2DD Team as a forum for collaboration and synergy in the regions. The Presidential Decree on the P2DD Task Force confirms the synergy of the steps taken by 8 ministries and institutions members of the P2DD Task Force. To strengthen the national legal basis in implementing regional digitization, the P2DD Task Force has launched regulation package as derivative provisions of Presidential Decree on the P2DD Task Force. Consist of Decree of Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs and Regulation of Minister of Home Affairs, which underlie the implementation of P2DD and the formation of P2DD Team. Accurate mapping of regional digitalization profiles is the foundation in encouraging the effectiveness of P2DD policy in the regions. ETPD Index will map the performance developments and stages of P2DD in the regions and serve as a reference in comparing the achievements of P2DD team. In order to integrate P2DD information channels, the P2DD Task Force has developed P2DD Information System as a channel for information, socialization, service, and reporting of ETPD to help stakeholders obtain information about P2DD. The development of P2DD Information System is expected to further encourage the improvement of the quality of integrated, safe, and effective public services. As an appreciation for the extensive effort of the regional government in advancing the P2DD program, the P2DD Task Force will carry out the P2DD Championship program. The awarding is carried out in order to increase the motivation of the regional government to further increase innovation and expand regional digitalization. P2DD implementation will also be supported with the issuance of regional government head regulations to establish TP2DD in provinces and districts or cities. The establishment of P2DD team is expected to accelerate the implementation of digitization in regions through support for payment service innovations, assessments, and monitoring of digitalization developments in the regions. At the end of 2021, 100% P2DD teams have been formed in 542 regional governments all over Indonesia, with empowered synergy and collaboration between ministries and institutions, both in national and regional, through P2DD Task Force and P2DD teams. We can improve efficiency and optimize local government revenue by accelerating and broadening of regional government electronification to make it Indonesia advanced.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as shown on the previous videos, through initiative programs outlined in the Payment System Blueprint of Indonesia 2025, Bank Indonesia has continuously improving the digitalization of the payment system to advance the digital economy and financial integration. And on that note, I will invite the panelists to share their strategy, synergy, and collaboration that has been part of collective action on achieving the transformation of Indonesia economic landscape. Our first panelist is Mr. Puji Gunawan. He is the Assistant Deputy Minister for Regional Economy and Real Sector, Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia since November 2020. Previously, Mr. Puji serves as the Head of Monetary Division for Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia. Please welcome Mr. Puji Gunawan. Hello, Mr. Puji, how are you?
How are you? I'm good, thank you, Pasat. How are you, Pasat?
I'm good too, thank you. It's very good to have you here as our speakers.
Sure, pleasure is mine.
Yeah. Our next panelist is Ms. Fitria Irmi Triswati. She is the Director Payment System Policy Department of Bank Indonesia. Ms. Fitria joined Bank Indonesia in 1998. During 20 years of her service, she nurtured her career mostly in the area of monetary and reserve management. In 2020, she joined Payment System Policy Department, where she serves now as Head of Retail Payment System Group. Please give a warm welcome for Ibu Fitria Irmi Triswati. Hello, Ms. Fitria. How are you?
Hello. Hello, Pak Dedi. I'm very fine. Good afternoon here in Jakarta. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all our distinguished participants here. And also to Honorable Ambassador Sembagis, Deputy Major, and my fellow panelists, Pak Puji and Pak Fitri. Thank you, Pak Dedi.
Yeah, thank you. It's very glad to have you here. And joining us today is a representative from Indonesia Payment System Association, Mr. Vincent Iswaratioso. He is the treasurer at Indonesia's Association on Payment System, or in short, ASPI. ASPI is an umbrella organization for payment industry players in Indonesia. Mr. Vince is also the CEO and co-founder of Dana Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome for Mr. Vincent Iswaratioso.
Good afternoon for those in Jakarta, and a very good morning for those in Abu Dhabi. Hope we are all in good health and staying safe at the moment. Distinguished colleagues, I'm Vince Iswara. I'm the treasurer at Indonesia Payment System Association. I'm very happy to be here and share a stage with prominent colleagues, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you very much for your keynote speech. Mr. Deputy Governor, I thank you for your rigorous thoughts in shaping the future of payment system. I'm looking forward to have a fruitful discussion with Mr. Puji from Coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs and Mrs. Fitria from the Central Bank of Indonesia. Also, a special greeting to my colleague, Mr. Daddy, which is the Director of Business Forum Dana.
Thank you, Mr. Vince. We are very happy and glad to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with our first question to Mr. Puji Gunawan, Kemenko Perekonomian. Pak Puji, with the traveling ban regulation since the pandemic, local government revenue was highlighted as an act to support the National Economic Recovery Project. May we get your view, what's behind this digitalization strategy for local government and how the progress has been going?
Okay, thank you, Pak Dedi Sahat. Firstly, I would like, it's such a great honor to be here to share with you with our colleagues from Bank Sentral, Bu Fitri, our friends here, also Pak Vince also. But before answering your question, let me provide you with the background issue why this digitalization is a must for Indonesia rather than a choice. As you may all aware that Indonesia GDP has measurably grown by 3.69% in 2021, or has surpassed the pandemic level, pre-pandemic level. There are many countries that not returned to pre-pandemic level. That's the key point. Now, Indonesia in the middle of preparation from entering from pandemic to endemic. government has targeted Indonesia economy to grow 5.2% year-on-year in 2022. The target is quite challenging, I think, since there's also additional external situation. We have also heard news that need to be priced in our policy. However, I see that the pandemic controlling strategy remain the key driver for Indonesia to recover faster, in line with also the policy response. In line with the priority of the financial area in the G20 presidency, I also see that digital transformation will play a significant role in providing a more sustained platform for Indonesia to recover and to make Indonesia growth more sustained, especially in the regional level. Now, we come to the regional level. We have a study to support my statement before that our study started in 2020. It took place in the 14th region in Indonesia. That the study stated that electronification of the regional transaction, we have tax in the regional level, levy on the regional level. It's contribute a significant increase. It increased about 11 until 14% on the regional government revenue. I think from that standpoint, in the early 2021, our president has initiated presidential decree. We can see it in the opening that the president forming a special task force. The opening shed is called Satgas P2DD. It aims to carry out digital transformation throughout regional level transaction in Indonesia and support digital payment development in the society. And after the presidential decree, a lot of development have been made in Indonesia. We have formed more than 500 regional task force in all region Indonesia. We also they are also increasing in number of digital regional government in Indonesia beyond our target. Back to you, Pak Dedi.
Thank you, Mr. Puji. I think it's a very, very interesting perspective. So we can turn the challenges into opportunity. I think we should be more optimistic going forward. Now I'd like to probably get the view from Ms. Fitria. Hello, Ms. Fitria. Probably it will be valuable for us to know your perspective. How would the economic digitalization could become a key factor for our economic recovery?
Okay, thank you, Pak Dedi. So we know that the pandemic has restricted social mobility as an effort, of course, to seize the spread of COVID-19. But we also witnessed that in the last 2 years, it has resulted in an economic slowdown due to a decline in activity amongst people. Our Deputy Governor in his speech just now said that the ability to survive, to adapt, and to transform is the key to successfully get through the pandemic. So there are some reasons why digitalizations could be the key for our recovery. So rising digitalization together with diminishing globalization, the trend of diminishing globalizations, create new challenges and opportunities for the central bank actually. So we can see that some of the reasons for that question is the first one on supply side. Digitalization has permeated all aspects of our lives and helps facilitate current economic activities so that they do not, contract further. So this leads to the fact that digital transformation has formed a new market structures. This is on the supply side. The characteristic of digital financial and economy, which are still based on data network activity or DNA loops, mean that economies of scale still play an important role. So this condition forms the digital financial and economic condition market structures in the form of a barbell, which consists of several big players, which are big tech and incumbent as market players, and on the other side is many small players who are specialized. We can say fintech in the niche market. So and then almost all physical devices are digitally connected, of course, that leads to increasing number of big tech monthly users significantly. That's the first one. And the second one on the demand side, that this pandemic encouraged shifting people's behavior that shift towards digital through e-commerce. So this COVID-19 pandemic has put pressure on the economy. The measures to limit mobilizations have an impact on the economic activity. This then result in faster digital transformation due to compulsion. The combination of digital transformation and the condition of this pandemic has caused a radical change in the pattern of human life. There's this study from Twilio that even stated that this pandemic has accelerated digital transformation by more than 5 years faster. So lastly, as a result, this digital acceleration have shown to be a game changer and to thrive amid the limitation of social mobility. People's behavior change and digital payment channel through banking grew by more than 50% year on year. That shows that digital transformations in banking continues. And this pandemic also encouraged people towards e-commerce, which significantly grew more than 70% year on year. And digitalization has also become the solution to continue transacting while avoiding physical context. And the rapid growth of this kind of transaction leads to the need for fast, efficient, and secure payment infrastructures, which I will elaborate more later. So yes, to answer your question, that digitalizations can become a key to our economic recovery. Thank you, Pak Didi.
Thank you, Ms. Fitria. Probably you can also share from the lesson learned what would be the strategy and key initiatives from Bank Indonesia to accelerate the digital transformation since the pandemic. Maybe you can also share.
Okay, so as I said, that pandemic actually had become a blessing in disguise, which pushed a shift in people's behavior towards digitalization, and also it also pushed many innovations in the market as market response, of course. So facing this condition, a comprehensive payment system policy framework is needed to balance between optimizing innovation opportunities as well as mitigating risk on the other sides. And this policy response that mentioned before, that Bank Indonesia issued the Indonesia Payment System Blueprint 2025, or BSPI, which is fully oriented towards efforts to build a healthy ecosystem as a guide for economic development and digital finance in Indonesia. Just now, Pak Doni also mentioned the 5 visions of this BSPI that were formulated, as well as being the end state targets of Bank Indonesia's policy direction. We focus on 5 things: the integration of digital financial economy and encouraging financial inclusion, and then supporting digitalization of banks as main institution in the digital finance economy, ensuring interlinks between fintech and banks to avoid shadow banking risk, and then also ensuring a balance between innovation and risk, as well as the last one is guaranteeing national interest in the digital economy and finance between countries. So in implementation, we already implement 3 payment system policy response for boosting economic recovery. The first one is development of a healthy, competitive, and innovative payment system ecosystem, and this is primarily carried out through the reform of the payment system regulation. The second one is the development of an integrated payment system infrastructure, which are secure and reliable interconnection and interoperability. You know that we have implemented BFAST, the first one, for credit transfer features, and then we also have payment system standardization, which consists of Open API standards and also CRIS, or QR Indonesia standard. And then the third one, we also want to build a healthy, efficient, and fair market practice that are carried out, among others, through pricing schemes for efficiency, while still, of course, opening up space for innovation in the industry. And in addition, Pak Dedi, as response to pandemic condition, Bank Indonesia has lowered several price schemes, including SKNB service price, and implemented credit card interest rate restrictions. So that's the answer, Pak Dedi. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fitria. I think it gives more clarity from your explanation to all the industry players. Now I'd like to probably get a few from Pak Vince, Mr. Vince from ASPI. Mr. Vince, may we know what is the challenges for ASPI and for all the members in order to develop a better digital payment ecosystem in Indonesia? Maybe you can share to us.
Sure. Thank you, Pak Dedi, for the questions. Following up on the remarks and the some of the sharings given by Pak Puji and Bu Fitria, we understand very much the importance of digitalization in Indonesia. In fact, for the past 2 years, we've seen that digitalization in Indonesia has grown significantly, and I think that's a testament of the support from the Bank Indonesia, the support of the government for the industry as well. We can see that, I'll give you for example, right, that e-money, which is one of the instruments for digital payments in Indonesia, has grown from 36 million electronic money into 575 million electronic money by the end of 2022. That's over 1,488% increase. In terms of transaction volume, we've also seen a very big growth from 137 million transactions in 2013, and now it already grows to more than 5.4 billion transactions in 2021. So, and that's from the user side. From the merchant side, as Bu Fitri and Pak Puji and Pak Doni also already indicated, we have now, in January, more than 15 million of the merchants who are already adopting the CRIS standard, and that's actually grown from about 1 million, only 1 million in the January of 2020. So this digitalization process in Indonesia is actually one of the fastest, not only in the region, but probably also in the world. And that's really contributed because of the collaboration between the industry, the association, and also the regulators. Of course, there are challenges for us in order to undergo this in a more faster and successful manner. So some of the challenges, right? One, we aware that we also need to address the gap between what we call the financial inclusion and financial literacy. So as Bu Fitri already indicated, there are a lot of the players now in the market, whether there are the big players, incumbents players, where there are non-banks, fintech players, where the smaller ones. There are a lot of push to open up the inclusion part. However, we also need to make sure that the literacy is being taken into considerations, because we need to make sure that all of this accessibility, whether it's in form of payment, whether in form of financial services, anyone that is adopting this ecosystem or adopting this new methods, they need to understand what's the implications. So we do need to more and more time help to educate the customer, the merchants, and also to provide guidance on anything in regards to dispute handling and resolutions. Another thing that we do need, we see some of the challenges, right? It's about the interoperability and interconnectivities, because if there are new innovations on product in the market, they usually have many standard that we can adopt. So the industry have worked together with the regulators to make sure the standardization in the process can be adopted by all the parties, such as NSCCS, NSICCS, the CRIS standard that I explained just now has been very successful in converting more and more merchants, especially the SMEs in Indonesia, to adopt digital payments. And the Open API, or in Indonesia we call it SNAP, as an AP standard. Afterward, we also have some challenge that we need to make sure that everybody can work together to discuss about the sustainability of the business model in setting up the right pricing, in making sure that every participant in the industry can be sustainable. I think that's the most important, because we want to develop a system, we want to develop standardizations and instruments that can be used for the future. We also have some challenges that we need to address, which is cyber attack, data privacy and protections. I think that's really important, especially in this real-time world where data is being moved in real time all the time, where there is a transaction that's happening 24/7. So that we do need to pay attention to this as well. And finally, the challenge is how that we can make sure that we can expand this offerings, this ecosystem and these standardizations to the wider market. So we do need to work more collaborations with the government institutions. So for example, to enhance product and features to support national programs, and also to make sure that we work together to address the ICT infrastructure needs to support this digitalization. So these 5 challenges is something that we consistently communicate with the regulators, we communicate with the industries, and we, as the SRO, the self-regulated organization, help each of our members to have a constant and dialogue with the regulators and create workshops to make sure that all of this can be addressed in an efficient and optimal way and can have an action points that resulted in actual success itself. So it can be shown by the success of CRIS, by the success of SNAP, and recently launched the BI Fast that everyone in the industry is really in good collaborations to create this amazing digitalization initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vince. I think very interesting angles that you mentioned regarding the literacy, not only providing the infrastructure, there is one thing. And secondly, I think very interesting also about the cyber security. So I think that is also very important. And I think with the good collaboration that we have together right now, I think it's a good fundamental for us to really work toward advancing our digital payments toward the good and benefit for all Indonesian. Yeah. I'd like to go back to Pak Puji. Mr. Puji, Pak Puji, would you like to share with us about Satgas P2DD that is expected to improve the financial ecosystem within the local government to make an efficient, transparent, and accountable system with aim to increase the local government revenue? Probably you can share what are the challenges and what can we learn in the past 2 years since the pandemic, Pak Puji? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Dedi. I think that Vince already highlighted what the key challenge is relatively the same. We should realize that Indonesia have more than 17,000 islands, and we have 20 million people inhabited in it. Yes, we have Satgas also facing challenges, but overlook several obstacles. I think the key issue that become a challenge for us is that the public interest in using non-cash transaction still reported. We have received reported from the regional government that the biggest obstacle is the public interest in using non-cash transaction. That's why we need local government to deal with this issue in the TP2DD, also in the central government. Another challenge that also we are facing is same with Pak Vincent. It's related to the infrastructure. For a nation that have more, like I mentioned before, more than 17,000 islands, we are providing ideal IT is quite challenging task. In our central budget, we are providing a significant amount, and the number is keep increasing each year in the last 3 years. The number we are committed to provide it in the central budget. We have also a special institution that deal with it. We call it bagi. And it works very closely to us in our Satgas P2DD. Another problems I would like to add is an ideal banking infrastructure. Pak Vince also mentioned about the interoperability, but I think there's a more fundamental issue here, especially in the local banks. We have about 26 local banks that not have a sufficient capacity. Not only for the infrastructure, but also in the products to support electronification of local government transaction. The other challenge is related to the human resources, not only in the regional level, but also in the central government. Back to you, Pak Dedi.
Thank you, Pak Puji. Yeah, thank you. And as for now, probably I would like to also to get your view about that Indonesia has been working on social aid for all, utilizing technology to enhance and to develop more efficient and effective social aid. Maybe you can also share what can we expect to come in the future of this project.
Okay, it's quite a challenge question you have raised here, Pak Sahat, since this issue is not my under coordination, but I'll try my best to respond to your questions using my own perspective. Okay, Pak Salat, I think the big issue that need to be addressed in the social aid, digitalized social aid, is related to the improving and strengthening the regulations. As far as I know, that current regulation only support for the social aid 3.0 or using cards, but not having support for the disbursing social aid using other digitalizing tools. I think that's the main issue that need to be addressed. Maybe in my view is need to be addressed in the next 6 months for the line minister. The second things that we need to be issue is related to the strengthening the institutional bodies that related to the disbursement of social aid. Yes, there is a Ministry of Social. Yes, there is a coordinating ministry related to it. But the problem in social aid disbursement is related to many ministries. So there should be a strong coordination here in the coordinating ministry for social development in order to make that all the social aid forms, we have a lot of form of social aid in Indonesia, that is targeted to the recipient in the regional level. And the last thing that I need to address that if we want to deliver the social aid using the digitalization platform, we should also create a supportive fund. That's my point of view. Supportive, why? Supportive is very important. It's on top of the fund of social aid itself. I think supporting one is very significant help in, for example, in creating basis database in creating system, in developing human resources, in other things that related to digitalizing the social aid. I think the supporting fund is also important. I think that Ministry of Finance is very supporting this issue about creating or supporting the support fund, but the problem is who will operate this supporting fund? Who will operate it in the central government? Who will operate it in the regional level? That's the question. But if we want to contact the Ministry of Finance, I would like to facilitate it, the line ministry related to the social aid. Thank you. Back to you, Pak Dedi.
Thank you, Pak Puji. I think it's a very, very robust insight. And despite of the challenges, I think going forward, I still believe that we should be optimistic, like the collaboration that have successfully we've done together. And now I would like to go back to Ms. Fitria. Ms. Fitria, we also would like to understand your view regarding how does Bank Indonesia basically penetrate digital payment to all levels of society, especially the MSME, the micro and small medium enterprises, because I think this is quite fundamental to our overall economy. Thank you. Ms. Fitria, would you please?
Yeah, thank you, Pak Dedi. This is very relevant to this financial inclusion effort to Indonesia. So digitalizing MSMEs, of course, has become one of Bank Indonesia's focus in increasing their capacity in the pandemic era. So we continue to support MSMEs to go digital or to go MSMEs 4.0. So the importance of increasing digital literacy, I very agree with what Vincent elaborated before. So this is important, especially for the MSME actors who are just starting their business. It is one way of optimal business development, of course. So Bank Indonesia support this digital literacy effort through various digital education and training facilities, as well as by facilitating contactless digital payments that are easy for MSME to use. We can say that the development of digital mindset and ecosystem is the key to the success of MSMEs digital transformations. So we have CRIS, we have QR Indonesian standard, quick response code Indonesian standards that is proven to be a game changer for retail payment methods. Apart from being a safe and hygienic payment methods. So this CRIS is an accelerator for building a digital economy and finance ecosystem, encouraging interlinks between banks and fintechs, and supporting the development of MSMEs. CRIS is an innovation where one QR code for payments was developed by Bank Indonesia and also Indonesia Payment System Association, or ASPI. Then we continue to develop CRIS features, which currently include CRIS Merchant Presented Mode, or MPM, Consumer Presented Mode, or CPM, for domestic retail payments, and then also we have features in CRIS without presence mode CRIS, or CRIS TTM. That is all increasingly widespread, especially after the pandemic and restrictions on social activities by the governments. And also in the future, we are developing CRIS cross-border to facilitate cross-border payments, and then CRIS transfer, withdraw, and deposits, or TTS, to facilitate entry into payment digitalization, and CRIS Pay Later to expand payment resources. And Eddie, let me share the beauty of CRIS here. So these various forms of CRIS and their easiness of use provide benefits for MSMEs to enter the digital economic ecosystem by digitizing the payment system, of course. CRIS can provide great benefits for merchants, especially MSMEs, including that CRIS can meet health protocols because it is done contactless, And then merchant can follow the trend of cashless payment. It doesn't require change to avoid counterfeit money and theft, and also it can help record transactions so that they can form a credit profile that facilitates access to MSMEs financing. So with its various advantages since the launch in 2019, KRIS has spread to 34 provinces and 480 cities or districts throughout Indonesia, and the number of KRIS merchants has surpassed the initiated target of 12 million merchants. We can say that this day, up today, there are 15 million merchants of KRIS, that 96% of them are SMEs. And the convenience of KRIS has been enjoyed by merchants in various segments, ranging from street vendors and then leading stores in malls to houses of worship, of course. And this KRIS ecosystem is supported by 75 KRIS licensed payment service providers, both bank and also non-bank. And with the easiness of the interconnection, it is currently estimated that more than 80 million of Indonesians, both in urban and rural areas, can make payment using KRIS. And KRIS is also supporting national economic recovery. It has also received government support and also used in various national programs, such as proud using local product and also proud doing vacation in Indonesia region, and also as Pak Puji mentioned before, the digital acceleration in regional area. So, of course, this is where the role of the MSME KRIS ecosystem as an accelerator of digitizing MME takes place. So, Bank Indonesia, of course, would like to thank all stakeholders for the achievement of KRIS 12 million program. And this year, we are hoping to be able to increase the demand side by setting a new target of 15 million KRIS users. Thank you, Pak Didi. Back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Fitria. And probably, would you also share with us about Bank Indonesia initiative regarding working together with international body to develop and implement a cross-border payment roadmap? I think it will be good if we can get a view how this program and how is Indonesia experience so far.
Okay, thank you, Pak Didi. So this previous G20 presidency in 2020, along with FSP and then CPMI, international organization or IOs and other standard setting bodies, they have compiled a cross-border payment roadmap, actually containing annual actions and deliverables for the period up to 2025. There is this aim of this program to overcome 4 main cross-border payment problems, which are cost and then speed, access, and also transparency. So Bank Indonesia has outreach with 3 major associations back in 2021, which are ASPI, or Indonesia Payment System Association, and then also Credit Card Association and Money Transfer Operator Associations, and their response were very positive, of course. And then, in fact, for some targets such as speed, the Indonesian payment system industry is very positive, very ambitious, that it can be achievable if it all committed to achieve the cross-border payment targets. So interlinking of payment system between countries has the greatest potential to overcome most frictions in cross-border payments. However, interlinking arrangements are still currently rare, but the potential benefits, they have sparked the interest of many payment system operators to build interlinks between countries. So the number is expected to increase in the coming years. Meanwhile, in general, retail cross-border payment in Indonesia adopt 3 models, namely the interlinking models, which are payment transactions will be processed via interlinks between local switching and also foreign switching or international schemes. And then the second model is the closed loop model, which maybe is made major here, and the correspondent banking model. So, and in addition, furthermore, in August 2021, Bank Indonesia has started a cross-border QR payment trial with the Bank of Thailand, or BOT. So the two central banks launched a cross-border QR payment link between Indonesia and Thailand today. So in this interlink, consumers and merchants in both countries will be able to make and receive instant cross-border QR payments. At this stage, users from Indonesia can now use their mobile payment app to scan a Thai QR code to make payments to merchants across Thailand. And similarly, users from Thailand can now use their mobile payment application by scanning KRIS to pay for goods and services at merchants in Indonesia, and also use the service for their cross-border e-commerce transactions. So, and this year we have started implementing KRIS border QR with Bank Negara Malaysia, or BNM, and other central banks to follow in the future. So that's the answer, Pak Dedi.
Thank you, Ms. Fitria, for sharing us a complete picture of the KRIS and also the cross-border initiative. And I would like to also go back to Mr. Vince. Pak Vince, since the launch of Indonesia Payment System Blueprint 2025, ASPI has been working closely with Bank Indonesia. Maybe you can share what's ASPI's role in self-regulated organization in supporting BSPI 2025 implementation. Maybe you can share.
Okay, thank you, Pak Dedi. So ASPI really play an active role in collaborating with the regulators, right? Our vision is really to improve the role of our members in a payment system in Indonesia. So ASPI facilitate dialogue and collaborations, one among ASPI members, or between ASPI members and then to the regulators. Just some of the facts in regard to our memberships, right? ASPI, as of December of 2021, has 187 members. The member consisted of 122 regular members and 65 affiliated members. 117 of them are banks and 70 are non-banks institutions. So we established multiple working groups in order for us to basically have this dialogue and making sure all the initiative from Bank Indonesia, especially the blueprint of payment system in Indonesia, so that we can work together to make sure that we can deliver the best and the right effective industry standard, so that everyone consisted of the banking, fintech, switching companies, and other relevant institutions can engage in a good payment business and to have all the operation, maintenance, and dispute resolutions that can be done through this initiative. We work together. ASPI also, in regards to the BSPI or Indonesia Payment System Blueprint, to help to be the driving force of the progress, and then also to synergize and fully committed for support of the BSPI 2025, engage proactively in standard setting and defining actions to drive digital payment, represents the voice of the industry in dialogues and regulatory and policy makers, and acts as the disseminators of information to educate the Indonesian market and also all the participants in the ecosystem. So ASPI has been doing a really a lot of job in the last 2 years. We all help to represent the industry within the national working group that developed the Open API Payment Standard, which are called SNAP, and we help also to collaborate between the banks and fintech to improve the onboarding process, to develop the seamless transactions and all the user experience, and also help to educate every participants that goes into this open API banking, which is still undergoing now. We already gone through several phases, and we will make sure all the participants are ready, so that will help the digitalizations, especially the synergy between the banking and the fintech players, and also the industry such as the e-commerce or marketplace players, to be more seamless. Also, in the past 1.5 years or 2 years, right, we also have helped to really support the CRIS, the QR Quick Response Indonesian Standard, to help to make sure that it get implemented, to make sure that every participant understand what does it takes to do that, and also added more and more of the features of the CRIS payment. For example, the CRIS customer presented mode, the CRIS cross-border, the remote CRIS transactions, and CRIS for cash withdrawal, deposit, and transfer. ASPI also helped with the initiative from Bank Indonesia to provide a fast retail payment infrastructures, which is called the BI Fast. The ASPI role is also to develop the micro and technical guidance to support the implementation and propose alternatives to support small banks who wants to participate on BI Fast. Recently, also with the update of the regulatory for payment system in Indonesia, ASPI provide feedback to BI on the regulation itself to strengthen the payment industry with streamlined approval process for the new players and license to enhance payment features, and with one door policy and SLA to work closely with BI and industry in socialization of the BI regulations. So all of those things are ASPI play an active roles to make sure that the industry and the regulator are getting closer and collaborate better. And I think really it is a testament of the numbers and the performance that we've been that everyone here, all my fellow speakers here, and indicate that we've been very successful to do so in the last 2 years, and we're really looking forward to keep the collaborations with Bank of Indonesia and the other regulators to make sure that the Indonesia digitalization can be accelerated even further. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vince. Probably to add, to complete your explanation, would you please share with us, since ASPI has been working and will continue work to support the central bank in various initiatives, would you also please explain what would be the strategy ASPI would take in the future?
So, as I explained, right? I mean, the ASPI role is to play an active role to bridging the industries and also the regulators, and to make sure that all the regulations that is being approached are discussed more openly within the industry and more transparently, so that the regulations that's going to come out, or the execution of that regulation itself, can be done in more an effective manner. So what ASPI does is we really provide a framework of working groups to have to connect and to engage, to learn and to grow together in this. And this working group has become the most effective really way for all the participants in the industry, right? Whether or not they're from the banks, or from the fintech, from the switching companies, from other relevant institutions, and also the regulator itself, the Bank of Indonesia. So all the initiative can be discussed, can be piloted, can be really work together to make sure that this is an effective solutions in the market. And I think that's what we're going to still carry forward, going forward with this collaborative method of creating multiple working groups. And we've seen that it has become very, very effective. I mean, as I mentioned, right, there was a working group of the open banking SNAP, and it was successfully executed. So now it's more on the execution side, it's on the CRIS side, on the BI Fast, which is still ongoing, and more coming up, especially in regards into the upcoming features that really improve the QR Indonesian standard features to be even further. So for example, right, features such as QRIS or CRIS for cash withdrawal, CRIS for deposit, CRIS for transfers. This is going to really help all the MSME all over in Indonesia to actually become also a touch point for financial inclusions. So this is something that we've been working together with Bank Indonesia and the industries to make sure that it's going to be implemented quickly. CRIS for cross-border, which is I think Bu Fitri already mentioned. We're already working with Thailand. We're already working on with Malaysia and other countries to make sure that we can implement this quickly. So then the standard is actually going to help for the cross-border transactions itself. So all of this approach, we're really happy because we can, the key here is to collaborate, and we get a full support and the participants. It's really each from the industry expert is actually involved in each of these working group. So that's why a lot of this initiative, a lot of this regulations that's being implemented in Indonesia for the past few years, ever since BI, Bank of Indonesia, launched the Blueprint of Indonesia Payment System 2025, has really been very fast, accelerated, agile, and also working successfully. So I think that's a great indications of the right way of doing this strategy of collaborations between ASPI and Bank Indonesia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vince. And we have our last question that probably I would like to address to Ibu Fitria. Ms. Fitria, Indonesia has been chosen to hold G20 presidency in 2020. Maybe you can also share what is the aim for this year presidency and what we could expect in the future.
Okay, thank you, Pak Didi. This is very interesting. The theme for Indonesia's G20 presidency is Recover Together, Recover Stronger, which was aimed to amplify encouragement for the global community to work together and achieve a stronger and more sustainable world recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. So together we should hand in hand implement a well-planned, well-coordinated and well-communicated exit policy, as well as developing an equitable access for vaccine across layers of economy. It is an opportunity to become the starting point for restoring the confidence of post-pandemic economic actors, both domestically and also abroad. So in payment system aspect, the main takeaway from Bank Indonesia's payment system policy response is collective action through innovative and collaborative approaches, which is required in facing adversity as well as uncertainty. In this case, digital transformation and synergy amongst industry and regulator were proven to be the key in facing the pandemics. So, Pak Dedi, maybe if I can point out or emphasize that digitalizing humanity is how to serve humanity in a better and efficient way, of course. And for doing this, synergy and collaboration is the key. So together we can recover together, and then we can recover stronger. So that's it, Pak Dedi, back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fitria. It's a very, very comprehensive explanation and make us more optimistic. And I would like to also thank you to all our panelists. As we have heard from our panelists, Indonesia has been through a digitalization of economy and payment system successfully. This is a great collaboration among government, the central bank, and industry players. And we really hope we would see more and more initiatives going forward. So, as we come to the end of our panel session, once again, thank you to all the panelists for this fruitful session, and I will hand the session back to our MC, Rani.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dedi, for moderating such a fruitful session. We believe that the key takeaways from the session will be beneficial for everybody, especially on the important issues discussed. Thank you and see you next time.
Thank you, Rani.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of Bank Indonesia Webinar Expo 2020 Dubai. If you wish to explore more about Expo 2020 Dubai, please visit the official website www.expo2020dubai.com. Finally, on behalf of the organizing committee, we thank you for your participation today. I'm Widya Rani Hapsari signing off. See you on our next event. Have an amazing day, stay healthy and safe. Wabillahil taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.